makes the world go round. Money. Cash. Moolah.
Hello. Welcome in. Hi, everybody. I'm gonna try to keep this pretty quiet tonight. I know I have a bad habit of breaking out of that pretty easily. So I'm gonna try to keep it real tonight. I'm trying. To me, when I listen to it back, it sounds normal. It sounds like my normal voice. I don't know why. I just can't I can't figure it out. But I'm trying. Hello, welcome in. I think the other thing that I think the thing that I feel weird about with ASMR voice, it feels like when someone else does it, it sounds nice. When I do it and listen to it, it sounds like I'm trying to be, it sounds kind of like, fuck boy, I don't know, like, unintentionally. I'm not conditioned to like the way it sounds yet, I guess. Let me say hi to everybody. I don't know if that's maybe it's that I feel like it's trying. I don't know. It's just kind of doing its thing. But hi Risco, welcome in. Hi Risco. 404, welcome in. Good to see you. I hope that you can relax. I hope that horror stuff is not too much. I hope you can still relax to scary stories. I actually didn't pre-screen this one, so I don't know. I don't know what to expect. Bug recommended this during the collab part of last stream, so I wanted to give it a shot. Because we've kind of done this before, and it was fun last time. We did do a really long one last time. This one's not as long as Pen Pal. But hello Harlock, welcome in. Thank you for the resub. Holy, I appreciate it. Thank you. I'll leave alerts on for now while we chat, but I think once I start I'll mute alerts. And I'll try to break up my checking in with everyone, like at a reasonable stopping point in the story, so I'm not like cutting the story off or anything. Yeah. Say something. Talk your shit. Hi Sussy. Also Sussy, thank you again for the e-reader case. I've been using it heavy. Today. Oh, thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you. I hope you guys also like the new model that's coming soon. I will still use this one. But I hope the new one is also it's not as cute, but I swear it's gonna be good. I promise. Oh yeah. Well, if you need to dip at any point, definitely feel free. Don't feel like you have to stay. But yeah, I wanted to double check first. I could do that. Oh, hi Shark. I'm sorry. You did log in. But hi Shark, welcome in. Yeah, I could do that too. Yeah, absolutely. Feel free. I would love that. And you can, I don't know, I guess if you're in the Discord server, that's a good place to put it when you're done, if you don't mind sharing it. That'd be great. I'd love that. Yeah, there you go. That's it when I feel like it. Yeah, understandable. Wait, I feel like I missed something. Pen Pal broke me because it was too real. I think this one will be at least a little bit lighter than Pen Pal. I don't think it'll have the same heaviness to it, at least, because I forgot how heavy Pen Pal got. Hi Psycho, welcome in. It's a slightly different coat. Unfortunately, it is like an outer coat, so it's not gonna be as revealing if you yoink it, but you will be able to yoink it. Reminded you of a disturbing movie that warned teenagers about talking to strangers on the internet. Yeah, it makes sense. That's how everything was when I was young, too. Everything was stranger danger all the time, and I had a little moment in a recent stream where I was kind of shocked to see how that's kind of gone away in recent years. Like, the sentiment is still there, but like there is almost zero online safety being pushed towards the youth now. Yeah, kinda. There's a little bit. That's the only way you could think that you'd know that. Oh, well, yeah. Should you be fine? Spiders, hand torture, and Japanese-style creepy ghosts and gore. Okay, yeah, no, nothing like that. Actually, I wasn't even thinking about Hempy's card. I was just kind of thinking, like, you know, since you said you were restless, I didn't want to, like, make it worse. But that's true, I do remember you saying that you were scared of horror. But I think it's fine. Let me see. When we were kids, there was a series of VHS tapes on internet safety. Yeah, I grew up whenever To Catch a Predator was running actively on TV, and every time my mom would watch it at night, I got so scared she was gonna come take my computer away. Well, yeah, I mean, it sucks because, like, they're doing it all wrong, I think. Like, I think I'm on the side of, like, the ID verification is not for the kids, as they say. I think it's more nefarious than that, obviously. It's more of just like, gosh, I wish there was education. It's education that I want pushed to the kids, not like weird restrictions and invasive practices. Yeah, it really is like, we need actual education. Open the schools, as they say. To Catch Predator was discontinued and taken off the air when they kept catching senators. Oh yeah, I didn't realize that was why it was canceled, but I'm not surprised. But yeah, I think ID verification bad. I say this as someone who was definitely under the age of 18 clicking yes I am 18 on certain websites. But it's funny now that like I can legally look at 18 plus websites and so many of them want my government ID, and I'm like, no, I'm not gonna scan my government ID to for like 30 minutes of like stress relief. I'm sorry. That's ridiculous. But yeah, I agree. It's a scam. You saw the FBI assembly. You avoided Snapchat and a lot of sites until you're mature and old enough. Yeah, that's understandable. It really was kind of the Wild West back then, and I think maybe, I mean, not that it's better today. I think the biggest difference today is that social media has basically put everyone online, and I think back then, like, there was a lot more. The internet wasn't as like, the internet as we know it was not as developed, and so it was a lot of splintered communities, and there were places you could fall into as a child that were not safe for children. But for the most part, like, if you wanted to stay away from certain things, like you really had to go digging for like dangerous situations or like be in chat rooms and stuff. But you really had more freedom to stumble up on stuff. Now you're more likely to see things you don't want to see or engage with things that you shouldn't engage with, just by nature of, like, you're on Twitter and someone puts it on your feed. You're on Facebook and someone puts it on your, well, who's on Facebook actually? Sorry. You're on you're on Instagram, you're on TikTok, you're on yeah, like all of these sites, like things are just there all the time, and like we're constantly accessing it, and people no longer fear putting out their real name on the internet, and like, I don't know, like their name, their picture, their location, like it's terrifying. Like, we used to not do that at all, or we were really taught not to do that. I remember getting in a lot of trouble when I was young for just like logging into my dad's Napster account to download like OSTs and stuff, because I would download like Gundam Wing soundtracks and Tenchi Muyo soundtracks and stuff, and since it was peer-to-peer, I remember talking to this one guy or person, I don't even know who they were, I don't know how old they were, I didn't know their name, I didn't care. They had just reached out, and because they're like, oh, I see you liked Tenchi, like you should check out this show, or like this soundtrack or whatever. And it was like benign conversation, but like my dad saw that he had messages from somebody and he freaked out. And like, even though I wasn't like giving out information, it was just like talking about interests. It was like, I didn't know who I was talking to. I was a kid. They didn't know I was a kid either. They assumed that I was older. So like that's the kind of scary shit we had back then. But now it's like, people make a Twitter account and they're like, I am 15, here are all of my disorders, here's my likes and dislikes, use it against me please, here's my name and where I live, here's the school I go to, here's pictures of my friends. Like, that is insane. That's insane. But yeah, maybe, I don't know, maybe like, maybe that's why like I grew up with that stuff in mind, because it's just like, that's just how I was raised. And like, kids who grew up on mobile devices and iPads and stuff with constant access to the internet through social media or YouTube or whatever, like didn't have that kind of like, I wouldn't call it oppressive parenting, but like heavy monitoring. Facebook forced you to scan your government ID in late 2010s. It locked you out until you scanned your driver's license, and they auto-corrected your name to your full last name instead of last initial for safety. Oh god, that is terrifying. But yeah, like you had to go to specific places if you had, and like there wasn't as many, well there probably were, but I was too young to find them. I was mostly on like GeoCities sites, so I wasn't interacting with people who like the stuff that I like. I was just like looking at fan sites. And so like, I kind of had that little safety net, and don't think it was until I was like in early high school or 8th grade to ninth grade, where I started playing like MMOs, like free to play MMOs, and I found like online socializing games. And like I used to play one where I actually met my first internet girlfriend, and that I dated for like a month in high school. We got married in Ragnarok Online. But yeah. Tried deleting your Facebook in late 2010s too, and they wanted you to upload your ID. It did seem like your account got removed at some point. I feel like that's happened to some of my accounts too, like older ones. They eventually just kind of disappear after I try to delete them. Yeah, same. The logbooks, like navigating web rings and stuff was great. You weren't monitored online because your parents didn't know how, and you would let them know what you were doing. Had you not been the one being responsible online, you don't know how bad it could have been unsupervised. True. I do think that, like, yeah, as wild as it was back then, it was a little bit easier to kind of like stay away from really bad stuff. Like I mostly stayed pretty safe. Like I was heavy on Neopets and stuff, and it was pretty tame there. I didn't really have a lot of interactions with people that like went out off the rails. Mostly kept like people I knew on my AIM friends list and not anybody random. I wasn't really in like open chat rooms and stuff. Yeah, let me see. What were you? Let's see. Oh yeah, back in the day. Wait. Oh yeah. So he could have. Sorry, I was halfway through that. So he could have just been excited to talk about it with someone. Yeah, exactly. Still not great, obviously. Like that dude was probably not automatically a creeper. Yeah, he never. As far as I know, like he never. As far as I remember, he never said anything that was like suspect. So I think my dad was just being protective, and like I understand looking back, but at the time I was like, what the hell? Hi Tay. Yeah. I'm probably still married, so I don't know. I think my IRL marriage is probably void. I don't think it counts, right? Just didn't interact with people. Little Risco was antisocial online and off. Fair enough, understandable. Honestly though, I had a sick. Okay, so I'll out myself. I've never been a furry, but like I found Furcadia as just like, it was the first time I ever saw like a massively multiplayer online socializing game where there was no like grinding or anything. Also, hi Markinov, thank you for the follow. Sorry I'm late. But I thought it was cool because like I made an account and I was like, oh dude, cats are fucking awesome. So I made like a my character was a cat. A cat guy. And it was ugly as fuck, dude. This game was hideous. It still is. But I got so into it. It was so much fun because I met so many cool people. Like we would find like spots on some of the maps and like sit with a group of us, like as a group of friends, and like we would watch movies. Like we would manually sync up movies we were watching so that we could watch them together and chat. And then I remember us watching like American Idol as it aired. So like we were watching like the early episodes with the really like with the rejects and stuff, and like just chatting about it. And like people would make they had worlds, like user created worlds called dreams that people would make, and like people would have some that were like either based on IPs, like they had like an anime club one, they had like a lot of Pokemon ones, Bomberman, and some of them would have like mini games. Like the Bomberman one was an actual Bomberman mini game. Some of them were like laser tag themed, but they would be like a city, like a GTA type city. It was kind of like proto Roblox, I guess, but like way uglier and a lot less like, well, Roblox is pretty ugly, but two-dimensional and way less customization. But it was I imagine something like that. I've never played Roblox, but I imagine it was something like that. Okay, so imagine like late 90s furries. Or like anthro art. Like I don't know. I don't want to be like mean about it, but like it was charming. It was charming. It wasn't pretty, it was charming. Hi Tenma, welcome in. Welcome in. That's true. Yeah, sorry. You should have seen it before because it didn't even have hail in it. You remember your father being uncomfortable if you said you had an online friend, but if the person was Filipino from the Philippines, he'll ask me if I wanted to meet them. That's really funny. Kind of just seen American anime. Do you want me to pull up a picture? I can pull up a screenshot. Hold on. Alright, let me grab it. It's kind of been funny because I've seen some people go back to it. This is... I wish I could find stuff that was like from the original iteration that I played, because most of the screenshots I see now have been like at least slightly updated to like the newer version. But I wish you guys could see it from when I was there. Okay, let me see. I think I got something for you. Gosh, I know this is old because this is when a lot of people would play. It's got like 300 people in the entire game now, I think. If you log on today. Okay, let me go find it. Just saved it. Okay. Here you go. See, it's got charm to it, right? But it's pretty ugly. But what was funny is that, like... Oh shit. No, don't delete that. I think... I could be maybe misrepresenting this, but I think a lot of people were like me, where like we all just were like teenagers and wanted to chat with people, because I remember like I got into so much good music from people there, and a lot of people there, like the way we would talk to each other gave no indication that they had any idea what we were doing either. Because like I didn't know that there was a whole like culture behind it. I just thought it was the game. I thought everything was specific to the game. So like I feel like a lot of the people that I talked to were the same way, where we were just playing and they weren't really, you know, because even the girl that I dated briefly, like she never gave any indication that she considered herself a furry or anything. But it was just really funny. It was really funny because like we would all just hang out and it was a good time. And yeah, I learned about the band Cursive from somebody in there. I learned about like the Smiths and some like who did that one? Hold on. Who did that one song? No, I think this isn't them. I'm thinking of a song. It wasn't by Pantera. Somebody had the name Cemetery Gates and it was by another band. I don't remember, but it wasn't Pantera. But I learned about some other bands and stuff from people on there, like, because I didn't really have a lot of like friends at the time, I had a couple local friends, but other than that, I was mostly online. So I learned a lot of stuff from people online about just like, I think that was also when I got into like Full Metal Alchemist and stuff, was from like playing that and like people being like, you gotta watch Full Metal Alchemist. So I think that's when I started watching that. But yeah, I don't know. Good times, good times. I think it would be funny. I think it would be funny to log back in one day. Also, hi Skunk, welcome in. I did say metals. I think it would be really funny to like log back in one day on stream and just kind of walk around and explore. It'd be kind of fun. Oh, I put Demons of the Shadow Realm in my on my little e-reader tablet to read soon. I saw clips of the animation and it looked kind of fun, in a like gory way. So like I want to read it. I want to try to read more first, and then I might try to catch the anime. But yeah, it looked interesting. I've been very open to stuff lately, and I want to read more. I've been like trying to speed read Chainsaw Man since I'm caught up to the Reze arc in the anime, which is, you know, obviously that's all that's out right now. But like I'm caught up on the anime, and so I wanted to get to the end, even though it's already been spoiled, unfortunately for me. I want to read it all and experience it. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm just being like, oh, I gotta let me read, let me start reading. But honestly, like I'm having a good time chatting. So it's kind of like, it's in the air right now. I mean, I might end up just chatting until it's time to go to bed. I haven't really just yapped in a while. So it's up to you guys. If you just wanna hang out, we can, or I can read. It's maybe if people have stuff to do, I can start reading. But no, I had a lot of fun back in the day. I used to roleplay. I used to roleplay on forums and on Neopets and stuff. So it's funny now to be a VTuber and like having not roleplayed in like probably 20 years, and now I'm a little character on Twitch.tv. Glad to be here and glad to see you and glad that Metals. I'm glad. I'm also glad. Wait, let me ping Kohi. I don't wanna, I might get yelled at later if I don't say anything. Seen the thing? Approve of the thing? Understandable. Okay, I'm gonna close some stuff and then how's the volume of the VHS hum? I want it to be audible but not like distracting. If you even notice, if you even car. Okay, cool. Let me mute alerts. Yeah, I think the music was kind of pushing it, like over it. But yeah, I wanted something. I didn't want music, but I wanted something in the background. Okay, I'll start before it gets too late. I want to be able to finish it, and we'll chat more at the end if I finish it early. Okay, so this story is by MaliaGirl1314 on reddit.com/rnosleep. This was recommended by Bug last stream, and it's called "My Wife Has Been Peeking at Me from Around Corners and Behind Furniture. It's gone from weird to terrifying." So Bug liked it. Hello, welcome in, welcome in. How are you? I hope you're doing well. Good timing, good timing. Let me make a pinned message just so, it does that now? True, mine also does that. It's real. Hello. I am reading tonight and may not respond to chat in a timely manner. Thank you for stopping by. Okay, I'm going to pin this. Just so everyone knows. Yay. I should probably finish my, I want to finish my energy drink real quick because it's gonna like coat the inside of my mouth. Oh, maybe I'll also turn off, turn this off. Okay. There we go. We are immersifying. Okay. My wife, okay. My wife Lynn, in quotes, we'll call her Lynn for anonymity's sake. My wife Lynn and I have been together for 6 years and married for 11 months. Our entire history together has been very normal, and never once have I noticed any weird behaviors or red flags. I can't stress enough how out of character this whole thing is for her. Lynn is very kind, intelligent, and thoughtful. She's always been the no-nonsense type of person. Being childish or trying to scare me is not something she'd normally do. She doesn't even like watching horror movies. When we first started dating, she agreed to watch The Shining with me because she knew how much I loved horror. She was so scared that she didn't even make it through half of the movie before we had to turn it off. She isn't into anything creepy and has never been into pranks. It's just not her cup of tea. And that's fine. But that's what was so strange about this. It's just so unlike her. I should also add that she never had any mental health issues, and as far as I'm aware, it doesn't run in her family. I know some people are able to hide their mental health problems, but in the 6 years we've been together, I think I'd have seen some sort of sign. 2 months ago, I was in the kitchen making myself some coffee before work. I was running a bit late. I was running a bit late that morning, and I knew I wouldn't be able to make it to Dunkin' Donuts for my usual morning fix. I took a sip of my coffee as I hurried down the hall towards the front door, when I happened to notice Lynn peeking at me from around the corner ahead of me. I could only see her eyes, and a strand of long dark hair hanging against the wall. The rest of her body was concealed behind the corner. I nearly spilled my coffee when I saw her. I did burn the shit out of my lips. "Geez, Lynn," I said, wiping a few drops of coffee. Oh my god. I said, wiping a few drops of coffee from my pants. He scared the shit out of me. She immediately popped out of view like a little kid that had been caught. I heard her scurry off towards the living room, and by the time I got to the front door, she was out of sight. It was really weird, and just totally out of character for her, like I said, but I also found it kind of funny that she was being more playful and a little less serious. Ugh. Oh, I shouted that I loved her and called her a weirdo. As I shut the door behind me, I heard her laughing. Her behavior was a bit odd, but it certainly wasn't something to call a priest over. I forgot about it by lunch, and by the time I got home, she was her normal self. I didn't bring it up, and neither did she, and life went on. The next incident happened 3 days later. It was around 2 a.m. and I had woken up to get a drink. I was standing at the kitchen island, jug of OJ in hand, when I felt a strong feeling that I was being watched. For whatever reason, I looked down at the floor and saw my wife's smiling face staring back. She was peeking at me from the other side of the island, staring up at me with wide, unblinking eyes and grinning. Grinning like the Cheshire Cat. I screamed. I'll admit it. Not out of irritation, but fear. For some reason, at that moment, I was scared. At the sound of my scream, Lynn scuttled backwards out of my view. Her hands and feet smacked the tile floor as she hurried out of the kitchen on all fours. I didn't run after her, or even yell after her. I just stood there, frozen in shock, wondering what the fuck had possessed her to do that. It took me a little longer than I'd like to admit to go back upstairs, but eventually I did. When I got to our bedroom, Lynn was lying on her side asleep, or at least pretending to be. I stood there for a while watching her breathe to be sure that she really was asleep. I had the feeling she might jump out at me the moment I got into bed, but she didn't. I climbed into bed and she didn't even move. Her breathing was soft and deep, and I was starting to wonder if I'd dreamt the whole thing. The next morning, I waited for her to come down for coffee, and after handing her a mug and kissing her on the cheek, I decided to ask her about it. "What was that about last night?" I asked, keeping my tone light so I didn't offend her or embarrass her. She frowned over her cup of coffee, shaking her head like she had no clue what I was referring to. "You were peeking at me again from over there," I said, pointing to the spot on the floor by the kitchen island. She followed my gaze, and when she looked back at me, she burst out laughing. She laughed so hard that I couldn't help but join her. "You creep me the fuck out sometimes, you know that?" I said. She giggled and set her cup on the counter and wrapped her arms around my neck. "Have a good night, Ichigo. Thank you for stopping by. Also, hi, Kite. Welcome in, welcome in." Sounds like normal wife behavior to me. Absolutely. You creep me out all the time, so I guess we're even, she teased. We said our goodbyes and left for work. As I drove, I kept thinking about how creepy it had been seeing her grinning at me from behind the island like that. The sounds her hands made on the floor as she crawled away. I told myself she was just trying to be silly, just trying to join me in my love of all things horror. It's not like I was afraid of her, but it still didn't sit right with me. I started seeing her peeking at me more and more. Sometimes she'd be peeking out from behind the couch or living room curtains. Once she even managed to get inside her grandmother's old trunk that sits at the foot of our bed. I might not have even known she was there at all had the trunk's old hinges not given her away. She'd had the lid propped up just enough so that only half her face peeked through. She'd been grinning like an excited toddler. It was unnerving. I didn't even know what to say to her. All I could do was stare. When I finally found my voice, I asked her why on earth she was doing this. She didn't answer, but she had slowly closed the lid, shutting herself inside the trunk. I just walked away, feeling disturbed. I didn't understand why she was doing it, but it clearly made her happy. I just hoped she would tire of the game quickly. Lynn didn't peek at me for the next 2 weeks. I started to think she was done with her weird prank, and I was relieved. We were watching a show on Netflix one night, and I jokingly said I hadn't seen her peeking at me lately, and that she must have given up on her spy game. She looked up at me with a small smile and said, "Maybe I've just gotten better at it." I didn't say anything, but I wondered whether or not she was joking. For the next few days, I couldn't stop thinking about what she'd said. Was she still peeking at me when I wasn't looking and I just hadn't noticed? And if so, what the hell was she getting out of this? I started to feel paranoid, constantly checking whether she was watching from around the corner. I was jumpy whenever I was home and she wasn't in full view of me. I felt stupid and a little crazy. But after a few weeks without another incident, I began to relax. I stopped checking behind furniture and walls and told myself it was just a bad memory. Then a few days ago, things got so much worse. I'll be honest, to interject for a second, reader's notes. The one with the trunk, I would have opened the trunk after she closed herself back in it. I think if my wife did that and she closed herself in, I wouldn't walk away. I would go open it and look inside and be like, what are you doing? My disbelief is not suspended. I not welcome in. I climb in there with her. True. Then a few days ago, things got so much worse. Lynn left to go to a friend's, and I lounged on the couch and played a couple games on my laptop. Around 9 p.m., I hopped in the shower, and as I was watching the soap from my hair, I felt that awful feeling that I was being watched. I slowly opened my eyes and almost had a fucking heart attack. Lynn was peeking at me from behind the shower curtain. Her entire head stretched into the shower, leaving just her body outside. Her long dark hair hung against the curtain, the ends dripping with water. Her mouth hung open in a terrible grin, eyes wide and red, as if she hadn't blinked in a while. I screamed and jumped back against the wall. She didn't move, nor did her smile waver. Her makeup ran down her cheeks in 2 black streaks. She looked giddy and completely deranged. I was fucking terrified. Oh god, I got chills. Ooh. It's dark in my room right now. We stood like that for a few moments, neither of us saying a word. Finally, after what felt like forever, she slowly pulled her head back out of the shower, and I watched her blurry figure through the curtain as she moved backwards towards the bathroom door. A second later, the bathroom door slammed shut, hard enough to rattle the mirror. I screamed again and jumped out of the shower to lock the door. I stayed inside the bathroom for over an hour. Maybe I overreacted to some of you, but joke or not, I wasn't going to put up with that crazy shit anymore. That's what I kept telling myself as I paced in my bathroom, stopping to listen at the door every few minutes. Suddenly I heard a muffled sound, and I pressed my ear against the bathroom door, straining to listen. I couldn't hear anything, but I envisioned Lynn standing on the other side of the door, giggling at her joke. I felt a surge of anger. I was beyond pissed at being made to feel scared in my own house, and made to hide in the bathroom for an hour. All for what? Some joke? If it was a joke, it was an awful one. What the fuck, Lynn? I snapped. This shit is getting really fucking annoying. I waited for her to apologize, or to call me a jerk. But instead, I heard a faint moan. So quiet, I wondered if I heard it at all. And then complete silence. Lynn? I called out, not able to even hide the shakiness in my voice. I got no response, just my own heavy breathing. I swear to God, just fucking stop it, I yelled, pounding my fist on the door. I waited for her to cuss me out, something I would expect from me talking to her like that. I never screamed at her before, but there was nothing. Just the occasional drip from the shower head. I won't deny that I was scared, too afraid to open the damn door and face my own wife. I waited another 30 minutes or so, which feels like a fucking lifetime when you're scared. Finally, I decided I wasn't going to spend the night hiding in my bathroom, so I got down on my knees and peered under the door. I almost expected to see her face peeking back at me, but thankfully I didn't. I could see straight down the hallway to the top of the stairs, but no Lynn. I didn't know if I should be happy about that or not. I looked for a few minutes, waiting to see her head pop up over the top step, but it never came. I stood up, my hands hovering over the door, and mentally prepared myself to open it. I slowly turned the lock with shaky fingers, and was about to yank it open when I heard a sound that still makes me feel nauseous when I think about it. A moan, louder than before, but this time I was able to tell just where it was coming from. I turned my head to the closet door as if in slow motion, and locked eyes with my wife who was peeking out at me from the slight gap. Her eyes were still wide as ever, and her mouth was hanging open in the most grotesque gaping smile I'd ever seen. I didn't even scream. I was too scared for even that. Her hands were clasped to her chest, body trembling with sheer delight, as if she could barely contain her excitement. A short, raspy moan bubbled up from her throat. deep and raw, sending a shiver through my entire body. Somehow I found the ability to pull the bathroom door open and ran as fast as I could all the way down the steps, snagging my keys and phone from the table in the living room before running outside to my car. I could hear her shrill laughter behind me, but I didn't hear her getting closer. I didn't bother shutting the front door. I drove away from the house faster than I legally should have, shivering the entire time, either from fear or the cold, maybe a little of both. I hadn't grabbed a coat or even a pair of shoes. I was still in my boxers and my hair was still damp. I drove straight to my brother Chris's house, about 40 minutes away, ignoring any and every call or text I got. I didn't check my phone until I was safely parked in my brother's driveway. Lynn had called 4 times and sent a flurry of texts, all wondering where I'd gone and wondering why I left like that. I threw my phone at the dash in a rage, furious at her nonchalant attitude. My brother and his wife were surprised to see me, especially just dressed in a pair of boxers, but told me to stay as long as I needed. Chris lent me some clothes and asked me what happened. I told him Lynn and I had a fight, but didn't get into the details. I told him I didn't want him to think I was overreacting, leaving my wife over a prank, even if it was a strange one. I mean, hadn't I encouraged her for years to lighten up instead of being so serious all the time? I wanted her to relax and loosen up, but this was definitely not what I had in mind. I tried to sleep on their sofa, but my brain wouldn't let me sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Lynn's face staring at me from inside the closet. Knowing she'd been in there with me the entire time made my skin crawl. She'd never left the fucking bathroom at all. Instead, she slipped inside the closet and slammed the bathroom door shut to fool me. The mere thought of going back home gave me anxiety. I tossed and turned, unable to sleep. Chris ended up giving me a sleeping pill so I was able to get a little rest. My sleep was filled with terrible dreams, all of Lynn's smiling face. I woke up just as the sun started to rise. My sore body ached from the sofa and I felt drained. I knew I'd have to call Lynn at some point, but I didn't know what to say to her. I wouldn't be going home unless she gave me her word she'd never do any more creepy shit. I just wanted my wife back. Her normal, serious self never looked so good to me. I was contemplating calling her and telling her that, when that familiar feeling came over me. I was being watched. I was staring at the ceiling, my heart in my throat. I didn't want to look away, but the longer I ignored the feeling, the worse it got. My eyes drifted away from the ceiling almost on their own. Her face was pressed up against the window beside the couch, staring down at me with that same gaping smile. Drool dribbled down her lips, leaving 2 long streaks down the glass. I don't know how long she'd been there, but something told me she'd been there for quite a while, possibly all night. I didn't bother screaming, though I was afraid anger trumped any fear I felt at that moment. I jumped up from the couch and pounded my palm against the glass. "Lynn, are you crazy? What the hell is wrong with you? Just go home," I shouted. "Now." She didn't move, and her ghastly expression never changed. If anything, her smile only grew, as if she'd never been more elated. I could hear Chris and his wife moving around upstairs, as if Lynn could hear them from her place outside. Her head twitched slightly in their direction, and she began to close her mouth slowly. Chris called my name from upstairs, obviously concerned. I turned to see him and his wife Rebecca hurrying down the steps. When I turned back to the window, Lynn was gone. The only sign she'd been there at all was 2 streaks of drool still dripping down the glass. I tried explaining to Chris and Rebecca about waking up to see Lynn watching me through their window. They were skeptical. Who wouldn't be? Chris and I went outside to the spot in front of the window, but there were no footprints in the dirt. Just a slight indent. Animal probably, Chris guessed, and I didn't argue. He and Rebecca assumed I'd dreamt the entire episode, but they didn't understand, and I was too tired to explain it to them. I called out of work that day and turned my cell off. I didn't want to face Lynn. Just talking to her was too much for me at that point. I really started to believe something was irreversibly wrong with her. That no matter what promises she made, we'd never be the same again. The thought saddened me to my core. I cried most of the morning. By noon, I figured I was ready to confront her, give her one last chance to explain herself. I could at least give her that after 6 years, I told myself. I turned my phone on and saw the dozens of texts she'd sent, all from a seemingly concerned wife. Can we talk? I love you. Please call me. I'm really worried. Can you answer? Just come home. And more of the same. All texts telling me she loved me and she wanted me home. How worried she was. Not a damn one addressing the crazy shit she pulled. Like she hadn't been acting like a character from a Stephen King book. Even her texts were different. She normally texted novels just to tell me to pick up a loaf of bread. You'd think she'd have more to say to me after her bizarre shenanigans. I know it probably seems childish to some of you who are miles away from the situation, but if you ever saw the way Lynn had looked at me, how she scampered away on all fours like some wild animal, grinning at me from inside the closet like a lunatic, then I think you'd find my reaction was warranted. I ended up staying with Chris and Rebecca for another night. I didn't wake up yesterday until afternoon, and thankfully I didn't see Lynn's face watching me through the window. I don't want to pry, because it's not my place, but is this fight something that can be mended? Rebecca asked. She made us both a sandwich for lunch, and I knew she wanted to breach the subject without seeming to be nosy. I don't know, she's like a different person, I said, choosing my words carefully. I still wasn't ready for her or Chris to know the full extent of the batshit craziness I'd been dealing with. People change, Ben. Oh wait, sorry, this is still Rebecca. People change, Ben. But she's still the same woman you married. Maybe you both just need to talk through your issues. Whatever's going on, I'm sure it can be fixed, she said, ever the peacemaker. I think it's beyond that now. I don't think talking would help. I just don't trust her, I said. The words stung in my heart. I missed and loved my wife, but how could I live with someone like that? Living in constant fear didn't sound too appealing. Lynn loves you. She has to be absolutely crushed, she said. I don't know about that, I said. Well, she certainly seemed like it to me. I've never seen her so upset. Very much unlike the Lynn I know, Rebecca said, shaking her head sadly. It took me a full minute for her words to really sink in, and when they did, I felt dread worming its way through my skin. Wait, what do you mean? You saw her? You saw Lynn? I asked, my mouth suddenly dry. Rebecca nodded casually as if that fact wasn't nightmare fuel. Maybe for her it wasn't. She stopped by this morning just after Chris left for work, she said, cleaning the plates from the table. I didn't see her car though. Maybe she took an Uber or something. Beck, what did she say? Did she come inside? I asked. Sweat started to break out on my forehead. I began looking around, examining corners as though a predator lurked behind them. No, she just asked if you were awake yet, and I said that you weren't. I asked if she wanted me to wake you, but she said no, just said to let you sleep, she said as she washed the dishes. That's all? She didn't say anything else, I asked. No, she looked awful though, like she hadn't slept in days. I think you should call her. I got up from the table and thanked Rebecca for lunch. I felt a little bit better with the knowledge that she at least hadn't come inside. Still, I needed to double-check the doors. I sat for a while trying to figure out what to do next. I didn't want to go home, but I felt that I owed it to Lynn to help her if I could. Hadn't I sworn an oath to love and honor her through sickness and health? Clearly she was very sick. If she was sick, which I truly believe she was, I had to try and get her the help she needed. But I didn't even know where to start. I didn't want to call the police. And besides, what the hell was I going to tell them? That my wife was peeking at me? That she was being creepy? As bizarre as she'd been, she still hadn't committed any crime. Not yet, anyway. The police would have probably said that I was overreacting, but this wasn't some prank. It felt wrong. Dangerous, even. Like something sinister lurked beneath her smile. I knew as her husband, I was well within my rights to have her committed. But what if she simply acted normal in their presence? She'd obviously been able to fool Rebecca into thinking she was just a concerned wife. As long as the doctors didn't find her deranged, as long as the doctors didn't find her a danger to herself or others, they'd have no choice but to release her after 72 hours. I felt lost and overwhelmed. So I did what any husband in my position would do. I called her mother. I didn't want to, believe me. Her mother, Marianne, and I were never on the best of terms. We'd never fought or anything like that. She just wasn't a very warm person, and that wasn't really easy to get along with. She hardly ever smiled, and when she did, only her lips would move into a thin-lipped smile, leaving her eyes as blank as before. She gave off this aura that felt like she was permanently on the offensive. I'd only met her twice, and both times were for such short visits. I got the impression she didn't approve of me for her daughter. Lynn always ushered us out quickly, and she didn't want me to feel uncomfortable, which I was grateful for. Being in her mother's company felt almost unbearable, like walking on glass. I was glad when we moved 3 states away so we didn't have to see her often. I was happy to avoid the woman, but I needed her help. I really didn't want to talk to her at all, but I had to talk to someone, and someone who knew Lynn better than I did. So I grit my teeth and did what I had to do. "Yes?" she answered, already sounding irritated. "Marianne, it's me, Ben. Do you have a minute to talk?" I asked. I could hear her cluck her tongue in irritation. "I'm in the middle of writing some checks, but if you insist, I suppose I can spare a moment. What is it you want to discuss, Benjamin?" she said coolly. "It's about Lynn. She's been acting strange lately, and I was wondering if you had any idea whether there was something whether you had, oh my god. It's about Lynn. She's been acting strange, and I was wondering if you had any idea whether there was something." I was quickly interrupted. "It's a bit difficult to follow your rambling, Benjamin. What is it that you want from me?" she asked. I could almost see her standing there in her thin sweater and slacks, tapping her fingernails impatiently on the table. "I wanted to know if you'd ever noticed any odd behavior, or possibly any mental health issues," I asked. There was a long, uncomfortable pause that I couldn't tell was because she was just thinking or something else. Finally, after a few seconds, she spoke. "I'm not sure if this is one of your jokes, Benjamin, but if so, I don't find the humor in it. Now I do have business to attend to, as I've said, so if you don't mind," she said, but I cut her off before she could get rid of me. "Marianne, it's not a joke. I'm sincerely concerned about Lynn's mental health. Her behavior has been very erratic lately. I'm very worried about her, and I figured as her mother you would be as well," I said, my frustration evident in my voice. "If you're truly concerned, then I suggest you get the health professionals involved. I don't know what you expect of me," she snapped. I could tell that she was seconds away from hanging up, and for some reason I was desperate not to let her. I had the feeling she knew a lot more than she was letting on. Did ads start? Does anyone know if ads started? I think I had the timer on and it went away, so it might be starting soon. Okay, I'm gonna take a second and get some water. Also, good for you, Toast, for being lathered in butter. I'm so glad that you're living your life. That's what they do. That's what they do. That's true. You can't get one. Let me check something real quick. Yeah, I'm gonna take a second to get some water. Top side or bottom? Which butter are you on? So let's see. Well, I don't know. I guess we'll just move on then. Oh no, ad break ended. Okay, we're back. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Let's see. So let's see. I had the feeling she knew more than she was letting on. Okay. Please, if not for me, do it for Lynn. I tried. I heard a faint, shaky intake of breath, as if she were trying to hold her steely persona together, but failing. Marianne? What's wrong? I started. Benjamin, I don't know what to tell you. My only advice would be to seek professional help. Do not call here again. Goodbye. I tried to call out to her, but she hung up. I tried to wrap my head around the call and her refusal to help me. Even if she didn't like me, why wouldn't she want to help her own daughter? I couldn't understand that. I tried to replay the conversation, desperate to find something I missed. After a while, I almost gave up, until I remembered her last words to me. Seek professional help. She'd said those words with a bit of urgency. I could have just been grasping at straws, but no. I was sure her voice had changed ever so slightly when she'd said that, as if they were very important. What had she meant? I assumed she'd been referring to medical professionals. Maybe she was referring to someone else. Someone that she didn't, for some reason, feel comfortable saying directly. Or maybe I was just desperate. I waited for Chris to get home, and after a very long and exhausting conversation with him and Rebecca, I convinced him that Lynn truly needed psychiatric help. I didn't tell them everything. I wasn't prepared to go into it yet, but I told them about our last encounter, how she'd hidden in the bathroom, peeking at me from the closet. They were obviously shocked, but thankfully they believed me. They too just wanted to help her. Still, they didn't think it was all that serious. Weird, maybe, but not dangerous. They just kept saying that Lynn had to be playing some kind of weird joke. Maybe for YouTube? Rebecca offered, if only half-heartedly. Chris didn't think we should involve the police just yet. He offered instead to go with me, and I readily accepted. He reasoned that calmly talking to her, trying to coax her into going willingly, was our best recourse. I agreed to do it his way. At least I wouldn't be going into that house alone. We drove over this morning just after breakfast. There was no way I was going at night. When we pulled into the driveway, my stomach began doing somersaults. Her car wasn't there, but I still didn't let my guard down. The front door was ajar, and for a split second, I thought we'd see her eyes staring through the gap. I was shaking and starting to sweat. Chris, however, was fine. He waited for me to open the door, his hands in his pockets like he was going on a fucking stroll through the park. I envied his ignorance. I pushed the door open and was immediately hit with the stench of rot. Well, we'll pause for a second. Hi, Carius. Welcome in. Hale? Who's Hale? Carius, please don't mention other VTubers in my stream. Don't talk about Hale in my stream. Let me shout out. Carius VT. Welcome in. We're doing a different kind of stream tonight. Thank you for the raid. Welcome in. I'm reading a scary story. I think we're right at the end though, so we might just like hang out and chat or find something else to do after. When I get you. Sex stream? Hello? What were you up to in your stream? Welcome in everybody, welcome in. My name is Hale, your favorite Biomedical Lab PC VTuber, the only Biomedical Lab PC VTuber, and tonight we're reading a story called My Wife Has Been Peeking at Me from Around Corners. Hunting aliens, huh? Hell yeah, but good to see you. Thank you for the raid. If you need to get some rest, definitely feel free to lurk, or if you want to hang out, feel free. I'm not staying on top of chat, but if you hang around until after the story, I will be able to chat more. But again, thank you for the raid. If I don't catch you again, thank you for the raid. And I hope you have a good night. Oh yeah? Okay, so basically what's happened so far is our main character's wife has been we're assuming pranking him by staring at him from behind doors and around corners and just being creepy as fuck about it, like wide eyes, big smile, whatever. And when he tried to talk to her about it, she just plays it off like no big deal. I think the last straw was her going to a friend's house, and then while the narrator's in the shower, he opens his eyes, sees her face staring at him. She ducks from behind the curtain, slams the bathroom door, and when he thinks that she had left, she's actually still in the bathroom with him, staring at him from the closet. He goes to his brother's house and convinces them to get her professional help. And so he and his brother are back at his house to confront his wife about all of this. So that's pretty much where we're at. Okay, so the front door was ajar, and for a split second I thought we'd see her eyes staring through the gap. I was shaking and starting to sweat. Chris, however, was fine. He waited for me to open the door, his hands in his pockets like he was going on a fucking stroll through the park. I envied his ignorance. I pushed the door open and immediately was hit with the stench of rot. Chris smelled it too, and he walked in the house behind me with his nose scrunched up. "What do you guys use to clean the floor around here? Shit?" Chris mumbled. "Shut up," I said, my eyes darting around for any signs of Lynn. The house was deadly quiet and dark despite being 10 in the morning. All the curtains were closed up tight, refusing to allow any sunlight inside. If I hadn't left it just 2 days prior, I'd have thought the house to be abandoned. We moved through each room, carefully checking any place that she might hide, occasionally calling her name. "Why the fuck are you looking under the couch?" Chris asked eventually. "Aren't we looking for your wife?" He was looking at me like I was a moron. "Let's just go upstairs," I whispered. He shook his head but followed me up the stairs to check the bathroom and spare bedroom. On the way up, my shoes crunched over pieces of glass that looked to be littered over a few of the steps. I noticed that one of Lynn and my wedding portraits that hung on the wall alone... I noticed that one of Lynn and my wedding portraits that hung on the wall along the staircase had been smashed. The frame hung crookedly. All the glass was removed. I stared at the picture, a lump forming in my throat. We had taken the photo just after leaving the church, after saying our vows. She looked so beautiful in her white gown. I looked at Lynn's beautiful face. I never dreamed her face would ever be a source of terror for me. We climbed the rest of the steps and checked the spare bedroom, but it looked completely untouched. I was hesitant to go into the bathroom, my fear from that night coming back to me all at once. Chris noticed and offered to go in by himself, but I couldn't let him do that. So we walked in together, checking the closet and the shower. The bathroom looked as if it hadn't been touched since the night I left. "I don't think she's here, Ben. Why don't you go pack some clothes and we'll try coming back tomorrow or something," Chris said. I nodded and went into our bedroom and shoved some clothes into a duffel bag. When I checked inside our closet, I came across the source of the smell and gagged. Chris took one look at me and lost all color in his face. He had to go stand by the stairs to get away from the sight and smell. I gazed down in shock at what lay inside my bedroom closet, soaking into the rug, were at least a dozen eyeballs, all carefully laid out in pairs. Some were as large as a quarter, while others were as tiny as a marble. I stared down at the eyes she'd collected from small animals and wondered how she'd gotten them, and shuddered at the thought. "Man, I thought I had it bad with Becca's shoe addiction, but fuck me. Your wife's in here collecting eyeballs," Chris said, gagging. "Ben, I think we should go," he called from the hall. "I'm getting nauseous." Alright. I grabbed my duffel and shut the closet door on my new nightmare. I stepped out into the hall and took a deep breath of air. I could taste the rot on my tongue, and I couldn't help but gag. "Who the fuck lines up eyeballs in their closet like that?" Chris mumbled. "I tried to tell you she needs help," I said. "She doesn't need help, Ben. She needs a fucking exorcist," he said. "You coming or what? I can't stand the smell any..." His words died in his throat, and his eyes grew wide with fear. I didn't ask him why. I could feel it. Someone was watching me, and I didn't think it was the eyes in the closet. I turned around, my eyes slowly scanning the bedroom. "Christ," I whispered, as I finally saw what we'd missed. Under the bed, curled on her side, watching us with the excitement of a kid on Christmas morning, was my wife. She held her hands together just under her chin, and they were shaking eagerly. Now that she knew she'd been found, I could hear the quiet noises she was making, a sort of hiccuping sound in her throat, as if the excitement was too much for her. It was unnerving to say the least. Wide eyes and that same huge smile. Everything in me told me to run, but I forced it away. This was my wife. No matter how twisted, she was still the woman I married. I had to help her. "Lynn?" I said softly. She didn't respond, but her head bobbed back and forth in two quick little movements as if she were nodding. "Baby, I just want to help, okay? Can you let me do that?" I asked. I had taken a single step forward, approaching her like some kind of dangerous animal. "I love you, Lynn," I said softly, taking another step closer. She let a tiny moan escape her wide-open mouth, and I had to resist the urge to run. Her shoulders were starting to quiver, and her eyes grew as large as saucers. I crouched down so I could see her better, and immediately saw the blood. Her hands were covered in it. They trembled more the closer I got, as if she was barely able to contain herself. "Lynn, are you hurt? You're bleeding," I said. She bobbed her head again. Her bloody fingers moved up and down as if playing an invisible piano. They occasionally grazed her chin, leaving smears of blood on her skin. I wanted to recoil in disgust. The smell that was coming off of her was revolting. I could feel the vomit trying to climb up my throat. Her lips were dry and stretched thin, blood seeping between the cracks. I knew she wouldn't come out on her own, but I didn't want to leave her in the state she was in. I scooted closer and reached out to her. The excited hiccuping sounds got louder, and her hand shook, fingers flexing. It was then that I could see the blood oozing from in between her fingers. "Oh my God, Lynn, you're bleeding," I said. Instinctively, I reached out to take her hand, but before I could even touch her, her hand sprang towards me. A sharp pain shot through my arm, and I fell backwards on my ass. My arm burned, and I could see the blood dripping down onto the carpet. I looked back at her in shock and saw her grinning madly, her fingers clutching a large shard of glass. "You all right in there?" Chris asked from behind me. I turned my head slightly and nodded to him, cradling my arm to my chest. When I turned back to face Lynn, I saw that her focus had shifted. She wasn't looking at me anymore. She wasn't smiling anymore either. She was staring past me, her eyes glaring at Chris the way a hungry lion might stare at an antelope. Her mouth was still hanging open, but it was twisted into a snarl. I got to my feet and began walking backwards down the hall, afraid to take my eyes off her. "Are you bleeding?" Chris asked. The moment the words left his mouth, Lynn started fast scooting out from under the bed, the glass shard still in her fist. "Chris, run! Go!" I yelled. He must have been too afraid to move, because a second later I felt my back bump into him. He was still standing at the top of the stairs, staring at the horror that was my wife. Lynn had crawled completely out from under the bed and stood in the bedroom doorway, her face twisted in rage. Her whole body was visibly tense. Blood ran down her fingers and onto the floor. "Jesus, Lynn. You, playing hide and seek?" I reached back and pushed him towards the steps. "Move your ass, Chris," I said as quietly but firmly as I could. Lynn bobbed her head in fast, sharp motions and began to grin, stretching her mouth open wider and wider so that her chin seemed to touch her chest. I heard Chris mutter a prayer, and then he was running down the stairs. I stood at the top of the steps, stuck between the love for a woman who clearly needed serious help and self-preservation. "I only wanted to help," I said, choking back tears. Her eyes focused on me once again as she slowly lifted the glass, holding it out in front of her. And then she started sprinting towards me, grinning with utter excitement. Thankfully, my body took over and I flew down the stairs, skipping 2 or 3 steps at a time. I made it to the front door before I felt her leap onto my back, wrapping her arms around my neck, her open mouth next to my ear so that I could hear those terrible hiccuping sounds up close. I shook her off me, knocking her to the floor. I felt a searing pain in my back as she went, but I tore open the front door and bolted to my car. Chris was standing in the front yard, talking on the phone with the police. I didn't say a word. I just ran to my car and jumped in. Chris took the hint and followed me, still on the line with 911. I watched the rearview mirror, sure I'd see her there, running after us. But I never did. I went straight to the ER and got 11 stitches in my arm and 3 on my back. The police asked a lot of questions and went back to the house to do a search, but of course, Lynn wasn't there. They advised me to stay with a friend or relative for a while, and to file a restraining order as soon as I could, but none of those things would matter. Somehow I just knew. I dropped Chris off at home and went to a motel an hour away. I wanted to put as much distance between me and Lynn as I could. This is where I've been for the last 4 hours. I thought maybe the police would find her. Maybe they'd get her the help she desperately needs. But now I don't think so. Because 40 minutes ago, I got a text from an unknown number. Just 3 words. I found you. And a picture attached. The picture was dark and grainy, but I instantly knew what it was. There was no mistaking my wife's eye. I started typing this out immediately after. I don't know what to do. I'm alone and scared, and I can't help but feel that I'm being watched. Oh. That's it. That's the end. Hi, Piss. Welcome in. Holy. Damn, that was good. That was good. I like that one. So under the couch was plausible, but not under the bed. I know, right? That is really good. That is funny. But yeah, I think this one was, I think this one was a little less, like, real world trauma stuff compared to Pen Pal. Pen Pal was very, was like, yeah, Pen Pal was way too real, I think. Yeah. I agree. Like, it was silly, but there were some moments in a dark room where I was like, ooh. But I'm glad. Thank you for listening. I had a lot of fun doing that. That was good. And now we have a little bit more time to hang out. We'll probably round out the 2-hour mark, and then I'll go to bed. But yay, yippee. So how are you guys doing now? How are we feeling? Are we ready to go to bed? Are you ready for sleep now? But that was fun. I'll keep my eyes out for other stories that are like nice and bite-sized, and I think we can probably find some good stuff. Really? It's 10:30 for me. If it's not super late before I go to bed, I might squeeze in some Chainsaw Man reading once I go lay down. I used to. It's been a while. I want to say it was like 2018 was the last time 2018 or 2019 I was like actively purchasing stuff. I used to have an Espeon collection that was like pretty filled out with all the variants and stuff. Hi, welcome in. Thank you for the follow. Thank you for the follow. Apollo? Thank you for the follow. Like I had one that I like regret selling because I ended up selling it for about the amount I paid for it, which was probably over like too much. But if I had held on to it for a couple of years, I think it sells for like $4,000. for like the grade that mine was. Like I had it graded and got it back a 7, so I was like, fuck it, if I can make my money back, then that's fine. But yeah, it went up a lot. It was the Gold Star Espeon that was from like a special event, and I was like, man, I can't sit on like a $300 investment, because I didn't see it as an investment. I wanted it in my collection, but I was like, you know, I spent $300 on this. I don't want a $300 card on me, because I don't want to like, I don't want that pressure. So I ended up selling it like pretty quickly, like maybe a couple months after I bought it, and then of course, of course it went way up. But also, like, I don't really, the rest of my collection is not really stuff that I sell or anything. It's just stuff that I like. But yeah, it's smart. It's smart to hold on to it, because I feel like that market is like blowing up all the time. There's some that I could probably sell now, but I do want to hold them just because like I don't really see a point in like jumping in on all that. I don't want to contribute to that right now. Can they have Cresselia EX full art that's being graded? Hopefully it comes back in 8 or a 9. Good luck. I hope it does come back high. I would love to have at least like one PSA 10, even if it's something stupid. But I don't think anything I have in my collection would qualify. I had bought some pre-graded cards at the time that I think went up later, but I bought them for fairly cheap because I liked them. And now I don't think I have any left. I wish I had. Just to have like a nice PSA slab would be cool to like put on a shelf. I was mostly collecting during like the Sun Moon base set era, and then when EX came out, not EX, what am I talking about? Evolutions, sorry, not EX. When Evolutions came out, because it was all like the reprints of the Gen 1 cards. And then I had purchased some Japanese like Neo sets. Holy, whew. Good luck, good luck. Hello, welcome in, Vera. How are you doing? Let me give you a shout out. Let me make sure I did that. My text is so small. I hope you're doing well. Welcome in. Thank you for the raid. What were you up to? How was your stream? Oh, true. Thank you. Good point. We'll turn alerts back on. Ooh, how are you liking it? I need to catch up with Persona 4. I've always really liked the look of Persona 4, but I've only played 5, so I need to go back and play. But how are you liking it? Have you played any of the other Personas? Do you have a favorite Persona? Oh. Oh my gosh. A P5 fan. That's so cool. I really liked it when I played, but then like I put it down for something and haven't had a chance to get back to it. So like I'd have to probably restart, unfortunately. I think that's like one of the best things about playing games like that on stream, is because it kind of incentivizes you to actually put the time aside to play it and like keep up with it, or else you lose your place. Because like Rune Factory was like that for me, right? Where I would start on it and then have to put it down, and since I was just playing offline, right? I was playing by myself. I would end up not coming back to it for like a month or two, and by the time I came back, I would be like, what was I doing? What's going on? But yeah, that's what I think is good about like streaming games like that, longer games. Oh, nice, Risco. I'm glad it helps. Yeah, like that with P4 playthrough. Stopped at some point, but now you completely forgot where you were at. Yeah, it's a shame. Like, especially like just not having a whole lot of time per day to dedicate to stuff. Whenever I'm not streaming and like it's like when I stream, I have to pick a game where, one, I feel like I can make it entertaining. Two, I feel like I could, like, I don't know, either make it engaging or have good commentary or read or something that like makes it interesting or makes it worth watching, outside of just me being bad at the game. So like whenever I stream, I have to like pick something like that. But whenever I'm playing games offline, I get choice paralysis. And I'm like, well, I only have 2 hours tonight. Do I want to start on a game that would take me like 2 hours to get to the beginning of the game? Or do I play Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 for the 7th time this week? And I almost always just play Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2. But yeah, welcome in, Cell. How are you doing tonight? But yeah, I'm sad you missed our story, but it's okay. We're just hanging out for the next 30 minutes. We're just gonna chat and hang out. So if you want to hang out, feel free. If you need to get some rest after your stream, definitely feel free to do that as well. We'll just be here. I enjoyed it. I liked it a lot. If I will actually share the link if anyone wants to read it for yourself. I will share the link. And I'll also make the VOD public once this is done. Accidentally closed the window, but I can find it. We will be doing more of these. I actually really, it's kind of interesting, like doing these soft-spoken reading streams. I feel like, for as naturally quiet as I am, I feel like I have to like force myself to suppress my voice a bit. But I do like doing these types of streams because it's a lot of fun. It gives me a chance to read, and gives me a chance to try something different. So I don't really have to think too much. I don't have to plan too much. It's nice. Thank you. I'm glad you think so. Wee. What else is new? What other games have you guys been playing? What's everybody been keeping up with in your library? I need to make a list of stuff that I need to finish. I think my next long play might be a Tales of game. I need to play like Mizurna Falls for sure. That was one of my choices for tonight, but I kind of want to do like camera on CRT for Mizurna Falls. But I might start a Tales game soon. I need to finish the Tenchi game. Oh, ooh, nothing much. Understandable. Rhythm games? Understandable. I'm so bad at rhythm games. I hope you're better than I am. What's your rhythm game of choice? Pick your poison. You have a recommendation that someone else suggested in the server, huh? Oh, what's the mechanic you like in Zestiria? Unbeatable. I haven't played that. Is it okay if I'm bad at rhythm games? I played a bit of Hey Flea. I played Zestiria like 10 years ago, but I didn't get that far. Far enough to like Alicia a lot, but not much further than that. I think I got further in Berseria, but I never beat it. I got lost. Oh yeah, the fusion mechanic. I forgot about that. Ooh, true. If I ever do Zestiria, Kohi's gonna strangle me if I don't have her on stream. So that may be Kohi and I may play Zestiria at some point. Yeah, like I enjoyed the story in Berseria a bit, but then I got to a point where like I had to go to a marker on the map, but every time I would go to the area, the marker would move somewhere else. So I'm like, okay, well, I just can't figure this out. I went like all over the map. No, I don't think it's 2-player, but just like Kohi's gonna be on my shoulder, backseating me, piloting me with like Ratatouille style, pulling my hair. Light the way, Crystal Tower. Oh my god, I need to go back and listen to some audio. The one that lives rent free in my head is Demon Fang, double Demon Fang. Damn, I might be a genius. That like lives rent free in my head. I forget which game that was from. Not Symphonia. It was it's one of the older ones. Oh, it was Symphonia. Holy shit. Wow, that was a good guess. That's funny. Yeah, that one. Holy shit. Wait, sorry, let me catch up. I missed a few of these. Unbeatable is fun. Muse Dash is fun. Do mobile ones like Roteno, Figros Prosekai. Oh, okay, so out of those, the only one I'm familiar with is Muse Dash. Or in Project Sekai. So 2 that I'm familiar with. The other ones I've never heard of, actually. Aside from Restory, you played 3 romance VNs. Ooh, how did you liked Restory, yeah? Risco? There was Eclipse Special Forces, Mirage Noir. Oh, Grow a Girlfriend. Ooh. I need to play. I want more VNs too, actually. I got a lot of stuff to do. One day I'll actually play all of Narcissu. I feel like I keep hitting like different levels of Narcissu completion, and I really want to finish it one day. So one day I'm gonna finish that on stream, and we're all gonna cry. The last time I played Narcissu, I legit was like crying at the beginning. Or maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was the first time I tried to stream it. I was trying to like get into it, and like it made me cry like pretty early on. Oh wait, is there actually multiplayer? I did not realize that. Interesting. Well then in that case, maybe we will be playing it multiplayer. Oh, have a good night. Thank you for the raid. Thank you for stopping by. Definitely ran away from your reading when the wife started following outside the house. It's okay. You did your best. I appreciate you for sticking in there as long as you did. Oh, Risco, you auditioned for Mirage Noir. Ooh, good luck. I hope you get it. That'd be so cool. Have you seen did everything? Yeah, I have. I have not tried to play it yet though. Yeah. Man, I need to audition for something. I've been slipping. I'm just like, it's not that I'm scared to fail. I think I'm just scared to get it and not be able to like deliver. You did. I forgot about it. If they're still doing stuff, I'm gonna go back and look. I haven't sat down and tried to do anything. Yes, Psycho. What's your question? Actually, I can go look right now. Okay, that was 320. Yeah, I could set something up. I could set up a head pat. I don't know why I haven't done that yet. Oh wait, I think I didn't do anything with this because I had bookmarked it. I was hoping that they would follow up with a oh, that's what it was. Oh shoot, I bookmarked it because it was pending. Because they said it would begin on March 24th, and I bookmarked it so I would check back, and then I forgot to check back. That's what it was. That's why I didn't do it. Damn. Auditions are now closed. We received over 2,000 submissions. We'll spend the next few weeks going through them, and then we'll be back for round 2. Okay, I see. Yeah, that would be great. That'd be great. I'd love to do that. Damn, I missed out on some characters. Shoot. This one actually looks good. Oh well. What a shame. It's okay. I'll get the thing one day. You hit the jackpot, I guess. I think once I get a demo, I think that's the other thing that's holding me back too, is like I see people always replying with their demos, and I know that's not necessary, but I also like haven't dug through all of my stuff. Like, it feels weird to send live dubs, and I don't really have enough recorded stuff to feel comfortable saying like, here's some recorded stuff. But I see everyone like sending live demos. I mean, not live demos. I see everyone sending voice demos, like voice reels and stuff. And so like, I was like, well, I need to just get that done so I have something to send. I don't have to think about it. I just feel like they are unpolished. Like doing things in a live setting, I like how they come out for live. Like, I think they sound good for live, but I feel like not having a chance to do multiple takes and like pick the best one, or like fumbling over words in a live setting kind of like hurts a lot of it. But that's true. Yeah, I could do that. Yeah, I need to record soon too. I gotta do something for another Arknights animation coming up, but I haven't had a chance to sit down and record for that either. Oh, thank you for this sip. Really the only thing stopping me is the fact that I need to set up my sheets. I need to set up my little walls so I can have a nice padded area. Why is it cutting off? Yeah, a while back I had just gotten some like PVC pipe cut and some moving blankets. I mean, really, yeah, that would honestly, if I had something like that, I would just use that too. I don't blame you at all. But unfortunately, like, every surface in my house is reflective. Like, even my room's pretty small. And even with all the stuff I have in it, it only barely mitigates room reverb. So like, if I have to project it all, it's bouncing all over the place. It's bouncing on it crazy style. For stream, it's not too bad because like I use a mic that's pretty directional and I speak softly enough to where it doesn't really echo as much. But yeah, if I ever have to like yell for something or like project my voice for a read, it would not work well. So like, I really have to have that wall. Dorm has enough soft surfaces to make the quality good, but you get embarrassed because the walls are thin. Understandable. That's the other thing too, is like I feel like I have to record when my wife's not here, even though she knows that I record for stuff. Even though she knows I record for stuff, I still feel very nervous. It's like I don't like singing when she can hear me. I don't like recording vocals when she can hear me. I don't like recording dubs when she can hear me. It just feels like weird. It feels, especially I think because I'm doing like an anime voice, and I feel strange because she's very normal. Yeah. It's also claustrophobic in here because of your absurd amounts of furniture, rugs, and walls. It'd make any minimalist cry. Yeah, we only have carpet in the upstairs of my house, which is great for day-to-day life, but it means that like the only walk-in closet in the house is pretty much unusable because it's like fake wood flooring. But honestly, I really would like to do more with my room. I kind of want to put like I already had thoughts about putting some paneling in like the back corner where my big TV is, to kind of like help with the tube wine, like the what is it? I forget the frequency of it. Sorry, it's the CRT wine that comes with it. Because like the bigger the TV, usually the louder it is for me, because I'm older, so like I don't hear the smaller TVs, but like the bigger the TV, the louder it is for me. So like my 27-inch Toshiba is pretty loud when it comes to the wine. So I had thought about, like, since it's in the corner, I'll just put like paneling in the corner behind it so that it's not bouncing off the wall. But then I figured like maybe I'll get panels for like every corner of my room, and that would help. But I think to like really make it a truly usable full room studio, I would actually have to like put drop panels on the ceiling and things like that, which I'm not gonna do. Like, that's too much investment. I really wanted to build an isolation booth, but that plan fell apart pretty quick. And also, not only was like it was kind of like labor intensive, but also it was gonna weigh like 900 pounds, and I don't feel comfortable putting that much weight in one spot on my upstairs, in my upstairs office. It probably would have been fine, but I didn't want to have to like call an inspector out to like double check all the joists and stuff. I was like, this is like getting way too intrusive, and PVC works just fine. If anything, I was already kind of thinking about replacing my computer desks with like mesh wire shelves that can support like 300 pounds or whatever. But in the middle of that, I was kind of thinking about getting a mesh wire shelf that basically becomes like a 3-wall room, and I can like only put the shelf at the top and like rails at the bottom to hold it in place, like, or rails around like from the bottom to the top, basically, so that there's no actual shelves in it, but it's held in place, and then have like a shelf over the top, and then from there maybe like hang blankets on the inside and outside of it, so that I can close it off, and it would basically be like a walk-in booth that doubles as a storage shelf if I wanted to go that route. It would just be a matter of like taking the shelves on and off or whatever when it's not in use, or I just leave it up as it is, and it's more sturdy than PVC, and I don't know, that was kind of my thought. So, but that stuff's expensive, so I'll have to see how that turns out. That's my plan for this year though, is I want to like get more wire rack shelving, so I can have more vertical storage. Because right now with my desks the way they are, it's horizontal space. So like everything's just kind of like sprawled out across my desks. So I would really like to have shelves going up, so I can have my computer and my monitors and keyboard or whatever, and then like all my extra CRTs that don't really have a place to go, they can go on a shelf up top as storage. I could put like computer parts up top that I'm not using. It would just be easier for me to like keep track of stuff, rather than like having to like stick them in a closet or leave them on the floor. I just have a lot of like in my closet I have 3 TVs, like a 13-inch TV, a 16-inch like widescreen TV, and a like small 9-inch Sony PVM. And then on one of my other shelves I have my 13-inch PVM, I have my 10-inch Ikegami, 9-inch DVD combo TV, 27-inch Toshiba, 24-inch Vega. At my feet, under my desk at my feet, I have a fucking 19-inch NEC monitor. And then on the desk to the right of my computer, I have my 17-inch Dell monitor and Dell Windows 98 PC. And then on the floor, I have my Windows XP HP machine. I have a little nightstand from IKEA that has my PC98 machine on it. It's like all this stuff could go on like vertical storage and stay out the way but still be usable, you know? So like that's the idea. I hate having it on the floor. Hordes TV's like Dragon Hordes Gold. Honestly, I'm ready to stop. I am ready to stop. I'm in the process of convincing myself that I don't need it. Because I only have a bunch of computer monitors as like backup just in case. Because they're all kind of starting to get a little dim. And it was kind of like, maybe just in case, I'll hold it just in case. But I don't really use it as much as I want to. So it almost like doesn't even matter in the first place. And even with my CRT TVs, I kind of just feel like the ones I really like, and I mean, I don't know, like, it's cool to have them and be able to like pull them out and swap them out if I wanted to, but I don't really need more like emergency TVs. I'm going to a sale this weekend because I'm looking at a 32-inch JVC. But if I get it, I'm gonna get rid of the 27-inch Toshiba, and it's gonna be the replacement. Like, I'm not keeping both. I think the only reason I haven't gotten rid of the Vega is just because I know I'm never gonna see one again, and those are the ones that people flip for the most amount of money. So like, I would rather just not even let that go, because it's still like really good shape and like still beautiful to look at, and it's like the only TV I have with component input. But everything else I have has been able to be, like, I've been able to mod it for RGB, so like, it's all good. Toshiba? Toshiba? Toshiba. Let me see. And also the JVC situation also kind of depends on model. So like, basically if it's a 150 model, I'm gonna get it. If it's a 050 or a 020 model, I'm leaving it, because I've seen the pictures of what they look like and it does not look good. I'll show you. I love that as a cat name, honestly. That's so good. Let me pop open. Wait, did I ever send this? I think I got distracted and never sent the link to that Oops, sorry. No, I did. Never mind. Sorry, I did see it. I did send it. The link to that story. Never mind. I did send it. I just forgot. I forgot. We'll wrap this up tonight by looking at CRT database. True. It's true. Okay, let's see. Window capture. I'm gonna move myself a bit. Okay. And then we'll put this behind me. And actually, you know what? Visual group, let's turn off the retro filters. There we go. There we go. Now it's clear. Okay. So basically, what I wanted to show was the TV I'm hoping for. So I know for a fact, just by looking at all the model shapes and stuff, I know that the one at the sale is a 32 inch is basically what I got from it. So if it's a 20 or a 50, I don't want it. I know it's not one that has inputs on the front, so all of these are not it. So it's either one of those or it's a 920 or a 950. So it can only be one of these four based on like the shape of it, right? That's what I've gotten from it. So this is the 020 model. Ignoring that impurity issue, this looks pretty washed to me. And so I'm not super interested. And like, while I'm sure it's a good RGB picture, like it just looks very washed out. Then even this, like, do be warned that. Well, hello, welcome in. Thank you for the follow. How are you doing? I'm Nurge. So like, yeah, even this says, do be warned that this whatever that says, has somewhat dim picture once modded, and you can see that it's pretty dim. But yeah, good to see you. Welcome in. Hi, Kohi. A little late, bud. You missed the meat and potatoes. No, you're good. Thank you for stopping by. Wing. It's okay, VOD's gonna be up. It was a good stream though. It was a good stream. True, potatoes have eyes. It's true. It was a good story. So yeah, I'm not hopeful for this one. I wish I could see what the S video looks like, because some of these like have really praised S video inputs. But this connector here is the RGB mod via SCART, which is a French acronym that I don't give a fuck to remember. So there's that one. This one is also a possibility, but these pictures are really bad and also looks pretty washed out. And it doesn't have any comments on the picture. Is you're not putting your hero on there? What do you mean? What do you mean? What did you mean by that? Wait, why didn't it open the 150? I wanted the 150. So this is the one that I'm hoping for. Because look at this. Oh, not your hero, My Hero Academia. Yeah, our anime is not leaking into the CRT database yet. I remember browsing through some listings last year and saw a 30-inch Sony PVM and speakers for 1K CAD. Had no idea they made them that big. Yeah, there are some pretty big PVMs. I think the biggest Sony ever made falls into a PVM technically, which is crazy. There's a really good video on the procurement of one of the last known largest Sony PVMs ever, like 40 inches or 42 inches or something. It's crazy. Guy had it shipped in from Japan. Okay, so this one in particular is one that I'm really hoping this is it. Cause look at this, is S-Video, like built-in input. This looks insane to me. Like it's so vibrant, it's so bold, it's so clear. Like this to me is like, I probably wouldn't even mod it, to be honest. I'd probably just use S-Video. But then even modded, like with the RGB mod, it still looks pretty good. It's like super rich. Look at my boy Hero, my boy Duo Maxwell. Look how good they look. They look amazing. Gundam Man. This is what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping it's a 150, a 32 150. So yeah, we looked at these two. Big Zam. It's Big Zam. I'm picking Big Zam. So these got higher up. One of these actually does say, I think it might be the 150. It actually says, wait, which one was that? Was it the 050? The 020? One of these actually praised S-Video, and I don't remember which one it is. Maybe the 32 850. Yeah, it could be this one. Yeah, because one of these actually says, S-Video quality is excellent, very sharp and clean with little chroma bleed. So it's so good it could be mistaken for component signal at first glance. So this is one that I'm also hoping for. Like, I think that like seeing S-Video on this looks fantastic. So that's kind of, I would gladly take one. The less I have to do, the better. Though I will probably RGB mod it. But I'm just hoping it's one that I want and not like one of the lower tier models, which, knowing my luck, it's probably a lower tier model. These look fucking fantastic. I might go tomorrow after work and scout it out. Just to see if I can figure out the model on it. I'll see if I can find the one that I have now. I'll show you guys actually some of the models that I have. So if I go to Toshiba 27A 14, I believe. That is not it. No, that's not it. This one's harder to find because how do I want to view this differently. This one's harder to find because it's actually like the main picture of it is not a good picture. I believe it's not AF, it's CF, I think. This one. Hello Blurp, welcome in. How are you? Yeah, it's this one. It's because it's only got composite and RF, but I modded mine for RGB. It's decent. I think it looks fine. Mine has like the really bad edge blurring too, so that's the only bad thing about it, and I'll be glad to replace it if I can just get something that doesn't have that. But overall, like, I really like playing 5th and 6th gen games on it. I feel like the edge blurring is only bad if you're playing side scrollers, but for the most part, like, I do like it. I think the mod really did it justice compared to just running it regularly. It didn't look that great over composite, but yeah, Super Mario World and Corby. Hello. I can show you guys my Shonies. You want to see my Shonies? Let's see. So, I have... Where are you? KV13TR28. 16GW2, but that's the one will work just fine because that's all they have. The 24 FS120. PVM. This is a Q series. PVM 8044Q 1354Q. I think that's it. Oh. And the Sylvania. Where are you? I S-Video modded my Sylvania and I really like it a lot. It looks really nice. Cause the DVD, like playing DVDs on it look amazing too for the size. Like it's super crisp. But the S-Video mod is great for like playing games on it. This one, 6509DD. This one was a random estate sale find. Hi Zeb, welcome in. But yeah, I found this one at an estate sale for cheap, like a while back. And like, it looks crazy good with DVDs on it. But the S-Video mod makes it look really nice for games. But I like it a lot. Came with the remote and everything. It's very boxy. I actually don't have any light gun games to play. I mostly play... I have a Famicom. I have a not a Famicom, but a Super Famicom, but no light gun games for it. I have a PS1 with no light gun games, and then all the rest are 6th gen consoles with no light gun games. Yeah, sad, truly. Maybe one day I'll get around to it. I mean, technically I could, like any of them could run a light gun game because I could just put them on an SD card. I just would need the other hardware. So this one I really like. This one I RGB modded. This was like my first RGB modded TV, and it looks fantastic. Like I love the look of it in general. Like I like the aesthetic of it. It's just that little nicely done like black box aesthetic. Just Sony has always had like a good look to them for that kind of stuff. I just love the way it looks. Looks great on a shelf. It's a small 13-inch TV. Very cute. And especially like with RGB mods, it just packs a punch. Like it's just a heavy hitter. I'm a big fan. And then this one's cute as well. I I couldn't get RGB mods working on this one. Like, it's technically moddable, but it's got some sort of interference issue. So I don't use it as much because I don't like the composite look on it. It's pretty blurry. But it is also a cute little TV. It's got a little aspect ratio knob on it. Mine has a knob. This is just a button. But my version has a little knob, so that I could control like the height of the picture. And also, I just don't really have many. I don't really have many 16:9 games to play that would look good over composite. Like, if I run a PS3 to it, I'm not going to be playing that on composite like this. Okay. I might be wrapping up soon, but once I'm done going through these, but hopefully your pizza is good. But yeah, I have the 16GW2. I think it's a cool novelty, but like, yeah, I don't use it too much. If the mod had taken, I would use it all the time. I would use it for stream, all the time. But unfortunate. They do make a version of this that's like a 20-inch, not literally 20 inches, maybe like 22-inch or something, whatever the aspect ratio measurement is, that actually has S-Video. But shipping that in would be too expensive, and I just don't want to risk it, I think. This is not the one. You are not the one. You are not the one. Where are you? I clicked the wrong one. 20. 24. This one. Okay. So this one I got at an estate sale last year for like $60, and it was in like it was in immaculate condition. 24 is a really good size. Like, it's big enough to watch movies on. Like, I would always use it whenever this was my biggest TV. I would use this for as like a more of a media center TV, and I'd use my 14-inch PVM for gaming, or like my 13-inch TVs for gaming. But this one is probably my favorite little media station because it has component video for DVD players, and S-Video looks pretty good, and just component in general for consoles also looks really good. But it makes a really nice display piece. I have it directly behind me now, and it looks nice. Like I said, I watched mostly movies on it, and laser discs and stuff, so it's good for that. It's got really good like picture settings too. Like, it's got different picture profiles that you can use. But it's got some downsides, but overall, like, I think I like it a lot. There's not much wrong with my version, with a little bit of overscan. So, plus, like I said, mine's like still in really good condition cosmetically. So I have just like I can't be bothered to get rid of it when it still works and still looks great. Yeah. So then next would be, oh wait, I'm forgetting something. Hold on. Let me go back to by brand. What that shit called, Twin? What is that called? What is that brand called? Ikegami. TR. No, not TR. TM1017RA. Yeah, this one. So I have this one. This one was a recycling center find. It unfortunately did not have the handle on it, but it had like a rack mount that I got rid of. But I really wish it had the handle because the handle's sick. This has RGB on it natively, RGB and component natively, because it's like a broadcast style monitor or field monitor or whatever. It looks really good. Like, it has a really, really good picture to it. Love playing PS1 on it for sure. I'm surprised that like there was no burn-in. The screen is not dim at all. Like I can keep the knobs pretty conservative for contrast and brightness, and it looks really, really good. So I was surprised to see somebody had gotten rid of it. I might do this fan mod at some point. I don't find that it gets super hot, but it might not be a bad idea just to do the fan mod anyway. So one day when I order another Noctua fan, Noctua, spin on that thing, I'll do that as well, because I think I have to do some like wire splicing and shit. So I'm just not in a huge rush. God damn it. Get off my ass. They didn't like that. They didn't like that. Okay, so this is... I have two of these, but one is one's an 8041. The difference is in... No, I didn't say Hawktua, I said Noctua. 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 Noctua fans. Because it was a fan. Also, hi Postulette, welcome in. Because it was a fan mod. They hate me. Kohi hates me. Chad hates me. They want me dead. Anyway. So yeah, I have two of these. The only difference is between the two that I have is that one has, as you can see here, 450 TV lines. The other one, the 8041, has, I believe, the 250, 300. I'm going in Sony series PVM Q series. So 8041. No, you can't say 600, 700. You can't do that. You can't do that. Surf's Up? No, I haven't. I have not. So, yeah, it says 250 TV lines versus what, 450 TV lines. So the TV lines is a measurement in these monitors of, I believe, horizontal resolution? TVL resolution. Let me double check that. Metric for analog, measuring the number of alternating black and white vertical lines. Higher TVL equals better resolution. I can't remember if it's horizontal or vertical resolution. Maybe vertical resolution. I think it's vertical resolution. But yeah, so when you have so like I said, when the higher TVL means higher resolution. Typically on monitors like this, if you get into like over 600 TVL for smaller screens, you get more like scan lines, like noticeable scan lines. Let me see. So if you look at like one of these images, you can really see more of like the alternating color and black lines from a distance. This is not a great picture. I wish they had more pictures, but like you can kind of see it. But more TVL means that's more noticeable. If you look at the 8041, you can tell it's not, like if we look at the same picture, you can really, especially look at super, you can really see like how it's a little less sharp. Yeah, zoom in, you can really see the sharpness difference, right? So one of mine is 450 TVL, the other one is only 250. I think they both look good in person. I think this is like splitting hairs depending on what you're using it for. They're both really nice looking in general. But they are small. They're small screens. They're like 8-inch screens, yeah. But I think they're cute and they're really good for just like, especially if you're playing like PS1 or SNES games that are usually in like 240p. They look really good. They look really nice and sharp. But I really like, I've had one of these before and sold it, and then I got this one later. This is a 600 TVL monitor at 13 inches. I think it's a really nice size to work with. And the only thing about mine is that mine has, and you could really see the scan lines on this picture, but like mine has some kind of tube damage that's only visible on like light backgrounds, where it kind of looks like a weird wrinkle in some paper. It's not the end of the world. It still works pretty well other than that, but it is kind of a shame because I wish it was as in good of a shape as my original unit was. I do find that it still has plenty of brightness to it. Like I can keep my brightness cranked down pretty low and my contrast pretty low, without like, to avoid like blowing out the brightness and stuff. Yeah, this is the one I would use on stream. I'm gonna get back to using it. I just haven't. It's kind of set up in a weird spot right now. But yeah, this is the one that I use for when I stream. I think it's a good size for that and a really high resolution, so it's pretty clear to look at through a camera. But yeah, I think it's this is probably one of my favorites. But in terms of like personal use, I do kind of prefer like my modded consumer sets over the professional ones. I think this one works best for stream, but I really like using the little consumer sets and or even like the 27-inch Toshiba. Those are a lot of fun to use for great for retro gaming. I know what I have, no low balls. But yeah, so anyway, that was I didn't cover computer monitors because I don't really use them enough to care. I use one. I alternate between like two of them basically, and one like I said is the 19-inch NEC monitor, which I like a lot, but I'm scared to kill it, and the other one is a 17-inch Dell monitor that's really not anything special. And then I have a gateway monitor that I like that technically has a Trinitron tube in it, but it's older and is like starting to get dim, so it's not really quite as fun as a fresh Trinitron tube would be. But the Trinitron tax is real. The Trinitron, if you see Trinitron on it, you're paying a premium. But I got mine from an estate sale, so I got lucky. But okay, I think that's all I got. Let's see what's going on. Let's see who is streaming. I think, is Hayami still streaming? Because we can raid Hayami. Hayami is still streaming. Miss you. Miss you, bubby. Alright, let's raid Hayami. I was gonna raid her one of those other times, and then I forgot. Okay. Should be good. But thank you guys for hanging out. I really appreciate it. Let's all go say hi and be very kind. Lab raid if you'd like. But otherwise, I will see you again soon. We'll get another stream in this week. Maybe we'll do Mizurna Falls or a demo or indie game or something. But have a good night, everybody. See you next time. Goodbye.